everything is whitewashed. I mean,
Everything is whitewashed.
everything. And, I
And you
only
can't
really just
realize
started.
how overwhelming it is until you kind of get in there and realize that, like, and I'll spill some tea. Sandra saw me at the farmer's market or something. And she called me, or no, she saw the casting director for Grey's Anatomy at the farmer's market. And she called me and she said, "Hey, there's this part coming up on the show and I want you to do it. I told the casting director about you and everything else." So I got a call, I went in and I auditioned. When I saw that later, I didn't get it. But when I saw it later, it was a white person. So it takes a lot of, and she asked me, she goes, "Whatever happened to that? You didn't wind up on the show." And I was like, "Did you see who was on it?" And she's like, "No, I wasn't part of that storyline." And I was like, "Oh, well, they cast a white person." And like her face just fell. Because honestly, how much more, if you're one of the stars of the show and you recommend somebody that can do it, and then you see that you were just told, like, and when I went in, I remember who the guy that was casting was like, "Oh, well, you're a friend of Sandra's, right?" And I said, "Yeah, but I also went to Carnegie Mellon."
Right.
And he was like, "Whatever." And that happened a lot in LA.
Yeah.
They didn't expect me to be any good. They didn't expect me to have any training, all of which I had. You know, it's not just the directors, it's the casting directors, it's getting approval from the producers. It's a whole list of steps. When people call for inclusion and diversity, um, they don't realize how much like white panic bells they set off, because it goes fully down the chain. Like, they're calling the casting director, "You got to get me some Asians," blah, 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 right? And then the casting director's like, "I can't find any." No, there's a, like, let's be frank, there's a shit ton of people of color auditioning all the time.
Oh yeah.
But if you walk in and you're like completely not seeing them as a potential lead of a series or a potential recurring guest star, like if you're not seeing them for higher than like 2, 3 lines, that's a problem. That's a problem that you have to process as a casting director,
Right.
because you're the first one that gets to speak to the execs and the director for that episode. You're the first one, so it's on you, and yet it's unfair because they can bring in 100 people of color and the director can turn and be like, "I want a white guy."